I think what was very interesting about the revelation of sort of coming out of hiding is that the photographer who took the photograph is well known to Sarah Ferguson, is sort of one of her team photographers. And it appeared in the Sun newspaper, who've always, of course, been very close to Sarah Ferguson. So there's some suspicions, Lauren the Insider has kind of looked into this, that this was a sort of set-up job. She may well have been paid for this. Lots of money was flying around as people tried to find her. And it may also been a realization that she couldn't hide forever and she had to sort of come out in the open.
For over 200 days, Sarah Ferguson has been hiding in plain sight while the foundation of her life is systematically erased. But the quiet is about to end. Behind the closed doors of her £14,000 a week suite, a $1.7 million calculation is being made that could change everything we think we know about the files that recently brought down her inner circle. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly why this alpine exile was actually the ultimate tactical retreat, and the shocking reason why her next move has the entire establishment holding its breath. If you want to stay ahead of the stories they're trying to keep quiet, you're in the right place. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button to join our community. We'd love to have you along for the ride as this mystery unfolds, because the truth about what happened in that resort is far more calculated than anyone realized.
But lots of stories, again, whether she is going to do some big expensive interview or lucrative, rather, I should say, interview or book, how much pressure is being put on her by the palace and others not to do so, whether this is a negotiating tactic in order to get paid off.
The quiet luxury of the Altusay resort wasn't just a getaway, it was a fortress. While the world searched for any sign of Sarah Ferguson, she was reportedly living under a strict, self-imposed isolation that bordered on the surreal. Insiders suggest her daily routine was meticulously designed to avoid even a single unscripted interaction. She spent her days tucked away in a £14,000 a week suite, a place where the wealthy go to disappear, not just to heal. But as the weeks turned into months, it became clear that she wasn't just resting. She was reportedly waiting for a specific signal from London. The silence was so absolute that it began to feel heavy. Rumors indicate that during this time, her phone was her only link to a rapidly collapsing reality back home. Sources claim she was engaged in high-stakes negotiations but had to be kept off the grid at all costs. Every shadowed walk through the alpine mist was a calculated move to stay out of the lens of the paparazzi. But the pressure was building behind those resort walls. It is believed that she was managing a crisis that no one else was allowed to see. A private battle that was about to go public in the most expensive way possible. But then, the mask slipped. On April 16th, the ghost finally appeared, and the look on her face told a story that her representatives had spent months trying to bury. She wasn't just a woman on vacation, she looked like someone who had just finalized the most dangerous deal of her life. The timing of her emergence was perfect, almost too perfect, occurring exactly as the financial walls began to close in. But the true reason for her return wasn't a desire for the spotlight, it was a cold, hard necessity. Because while she was hiding in the mountains, a massive seven-figure sum was being moved into position, and the terms of that agreement were about to change her life forever.
But fundamentally getting out the pity, because it spoke about her worries about being homeless, didn't it? And then it also had, like you say, this implicit threat. So part of the Sun story, the briefing from the Sun, is that she's got the goods on the royal family and that she can do considerable damage, and that she was considering a £1.3 million documentary deal. What kind of things do you think she knows about the royal family that she could reveal that could do damage?
$1.7 million is a life-changing sum for most. But for Sarah Ferguson, it might be the only thing standing between her and a complete financial collapse. Insiders say this isn't just about a paycheck. It's a desperate attempt to regain control of a narrative that has spiraled out of her hands. Rumors indicate that as her personal businesses have been wound up and her primary sources of income have vanished, she has been quietly weighing a massive deal for a televised sit-down and a high-stakes memoir. It is claimed that this specific figure, $1.7 million, is the survival price she has calculated to maintain her lifestyle outside the palace walls.
But she's been hanging around the royal family for the last 40 years. She may well, having been so close to Diana, have all sorts of stories about Charles. She may know clearly a lot more about Andrew's relationship with Epstein. She will have picked up stories, I suspect, about other members of the royal family.
But taking the money comes with a terrifying risk. Reports suggest that every time she moves closer to signing the contract, the pressure from behind the scenes reaches a breaking point. It is believed that this isn't just a simple business transaction. It is a gamble that could effectively end her remaining ties to the institution she has spent decades trying to please. Sources claim that while the massive payday could secure her future, it might also mean becoming a permanent outsider with no way back. The tension is reportedly visible to those closest to her. Insiders say she has been analyzing the paths of those who went before her, trying to find a way to speak her truth without triggering a total fallout. But as the 2026 files continue to release details that contradict her past statements, the soft media approach is becoming less of an option. Rumors indicate that the publishers and networks aren't looking for a filtered version of events. They want the raw, unfiltered details that only she can provide. The stakes are higher than ever because this isn't just about her bank account. Every move she makes in these negotiations is being watched by those who have everything to lose if she speaks. It is claimed that a specific set of individuals are terrified of what she might reveal in a $1.7 million interview. And as we look closer at her world, it becomes clear that the financial pressure is being amplified by a devastating series of collapses within her own family, starting with the very foundation of her household. The walls aren't just closing in on Sarah Ferguson, they are officially collapsing. In February 2026, a series of filings at Companies House revealed that 6 of her private businesses were being abruptly liquidated, all while her primary charity, Sarah's Trust, announced it would be shutting its doors for the foreseeable future. This wasn't a planned retirement. It was a massive, systematic shutdown of her professional life, occurring just days after a fresh wave of documents surfaced that many had hoped would stay buried. Insiders suggest that these companies, from lifestyle brands to production houses, were being dismantled to minimize her public footprint as the pressure from the 2026 files became unbearable. But as the businesses folded, a much more painful reality began to emerge for her family. Reports indicate that for the first time, her daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, have been directly tied to the timeline of the scandal in ways that were never previously confirmed. It is claimed that newly released correspondence shows Sarah allegedly brought both princesses to meet with a high-profile figure just 5 days after his release from a 2010 sentencing, an event the sisters had reportedly never acknowledged. This revelation has sent shockwaves through their inner circle, with sources claiming the young women were used as pawns in a desperate search for financial stability. The fallout from these details has been described as a reputational emergency that no amount of traditional PR can fix. Rumors indicate that Sarah is now haunted by the realization that her past decisions have left a permanent mark on her daughters' futures. It is believed that the move to shut down her trust and businesses is part of a last-ditch effort to pull her family out of the line of fire before the situation worsens. But the race to save their image is being complicated by new, high-tech evidence that is proving far more difficult to explain away. Every day that passes without a clear statement, the public skepticism grows. Insiders say the tension within the York household has reached a breaking point as they realize that the documents aren't just about the past, they are dictating their future. Because while the business closures were a major blow, they were nothing compared to the shock of a single leaked email from 2010 that has recently been brought to light, containing a phrase so explosive it has made her last-ditch gamble the only option left on the table. The standard narrative of regrettable mistakes was recently shattered by a single leaked exchange that has made headlines across the globe. Among the millions of files released by the Department of Justice in early 2026, a series of emails from June 2010 appears to show a level of intimacy that Sarah Ferguson has spent years denying. According to sources, one specific message allegedly sent from her account to the disgraced financier contained a phrase that has left the public stunned. "I am at your service. Just marry me." It is claimed that this wasn't just a joke or a throwaway line, but part of a deeper, ongoing reliance that insiders say involved years of undisclosed financial support. The timing of this email is what makes it truly devastating. It was reportedly sent at a time when the individual in question was already a known offender, directly contradicting Sarah's long-standing claims that she cut ties as soon as the truth came out. Rumors indicate that there are even more messages in the 2026 dump, some allegedly discussing tea at private royal residences, and luxury travel arrangements that were never made public. This evidence suggests that the brother she once thanked for his generosity was far more integrated into her daily life than anyone previously realized. But the leak doesn't stop at her own reputation. It is believed that these emails also reference her daughters in a way that has made her reputation gamble a matter of extreme urgency. Sources claim the documents indicate she was allegedly organizing meetings between her family and the financier long after he had served his initial sentence. Insiders say this is the real reason she is now reportedly desperate for that $1.7 million platform. She needs to explain these words before they are used to define her legacy forever. Every new detail pulled from these files makes her past defenses look increasingly fragile. It is claimed that legal experts are now looking at whether these communications could be used as leverage in ongoing international inquiries. Rumors suggest that the pressure to speak is no longer coming just from the media, but from high-level officials who want to know the true extent of these services she offered. And as she weighs her next move, she knows that the most dangerous part of the story isn't just what she said in an email, it's what was happening back at home on the very day everything fell apart. The moment the world had been waiting for finally arrived in the early morning hours of February 18th, 2026, but it wasn't the celebration many expected. At exactly 8 a.m. on his 66th birthday, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was reportedly arrested at the Sandringham estate. This wasn't just a headline. It was a historic collision between a former royal life and the modern rule of law. Sources claim the arrest was the direct result of the massive 2026 document dump, which allegedly contained proof that confidential trade secrets were being funneled to high-profile figures long after the public had been told those connections were severed. The charges, described as suspicion of misconduct in public office, have sent a shockwave through the entire establishment. It is claimed that investigators are focused on a specific series of emails from 2010, where sensitive government briefs on international investment were allegedly forwarded to the financier just minutes after they were received. Insiders suggest that for Sarah Ferguson, this arrest was the final signal that the royal shield had been permanently lowered. The King's own statement that the law must take its course left no doubt that the old protections were gone. As the sirens faded, the reality of the situation began to set in for those remaining at the Royal Lodge. Reports indicate that the search of the property lasted for hours, with officers reportedly seen removing boxes of digital evidence and personal files. It is believed that this specific legal strike is what finally forced Sarah's hand in her $1.7 million gamble. If her primary protector was now facing a potential trial in a Crown Court, her own survival depended on moving faster than the headlines. The tension has reportedly transformed the family's inner circle into a zone of absolute silence. Sources claim that Sarah's recent Alpine exile was actually a desperate attempt to coordinate a response, while the legal team back in London scrambled to handle the fallout of the arrest. But as the investigation widens to include past travel logs and private flight records, the window for a controlled explanation is rapidly closing. Every new piece of evidence suggests that the arrest was just the beginning of a much larger reckoning. Rumors indicate that authorities are now looking into anyone who may have facilitated these alleged breaches of trust. And while the world watches the legal drama unfold, the most chilling question remains: what did Sarah know about these specific exchanges? And is she ready to reveal the truth before the court does it for her? Because as we look at the final piece of this puzzle, it becomes clear that the end of the York legacy isn't just possible, it might be inevitable. The high-stakes game that Sarah Ferguson has played for decades is finally reaching its endgame. She stands at a crossroads where every path leads to a permanent loss. If she takes the reported $1.7 million deal and speaks her truth, she risks a final, total break from the institution she has spent her life trying to reclaim. But if she stays silent, she remains a ghost, trapped under the weight of files that are slowly dismantling her family's name. Reports suggest that the 2026 documents have made the status quo impossible to maintain. The Alpine mist has cleared, and the last-ditch gamble she is facing isn't just about money, it's about whether there is anything left of the York legacy to save. As the legal proceedings around Andrew Mountbatten Windsor chapter move forward, the world is watching to see if Sarah will be the one to finally pull back the curtain. Is she a woman looking for redemption, or is she simply the last person left with a story to sell? Only time will tell if her $1.7 million calculation was a masterstroke of survival or the final blow to a house that was already crumbling. One thing is certain, the world she once knew is gone, and what comes next will be entirely on her terms. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into one of the most complex stories of the year. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to stay updated on all the latest developments as they happen, please consider subscribing to the channel. We love having you as part of our channel and look forward to sharing the next chapter with you. Until next time, stay curious and take care.